Hello there, vinyl community, and hello there, Carsten Olsen. This is a response to your 250 subscribers contest. 250 subscribers is very, very impressive, and a big congratulations to you. You wanted to talk Prince and Danish artists, and I'll be glad to. Prince is an artist that I like very, very much. He's a very special artist who is fantastic as a live performer, as a producer, as a musician, as a composer. I love his funky and groovy music, and is good as ballads as well, and I really like him very, very much. Even though there were some times during his career when I did things that I didn't like all that much. The Parade album from 1986 is definitely an album I'm very disappointed at. It was definitely one of his worst albums, unfortunately. I wasn't too fond when he started his symbol thing, when he did songs like Sexy MF and My Name is Prince. I never really understood that, and his gimmick that he had in the 80s when it was some kind of a sex symbol, I never really understood either, but he did great music nonetheless, and that's what's important to me. So I think he's a great artist, no doubt about it. I like him very, very much. Very funky, very groovy music that I love, as well as the ballads. And you wanted to see some Prince collections, and my Prince collection isn't all that unusual. It's okay big, but it can always improve. Starting right away from the beginning, and when I mean the beginning, I really mean the beginning. This is the collection contains both CDs and LPs, and this one is, for what I know, is first from 1979 on CD though, not an LP, but interesting album. The next one I count as a Prince album, even though it is soundtrack. Batman, it's Batman soundtrack. I really like the song Bat Dance. It's a totally unpredictable song that you never know where it's going to end, and sound effects and funky groove, and I really love that song. And it's a very interesting album, even though I'm not too fond of his duet with Sheena Easton, The Arms of Orion. This is an album that I bought this autumn when the record store we have in the city, Harvest Record, was shut down. This is Controversy, and it contains a song with Prince that were the first one that I ever heard with Prince that made me discover him. It's a song called Sexuality, and I remember hearing it in 1985. It was summer, and I was going in a car up north to Örnsköldsvik, a city where we had a summer resident, and I remember liking that. I liked that song actually, and I remember recorded the video a couple of years later also. So it's a very interesting album. Talked about his love symbol period, and the album Love Symbol that I wasn't too fond of, but I still have it nonetheless. It's a cutout, unfortunately. I have it because I want to complete the collection of Prince in some form, even though there are songs that I don't like that much here. But The Morning Papers, some of the Morning Papers, is actually a good song. This is the newest Prince finding in my collection. This is a pretty new Prince, 1999 I think it's from. Rave Unto the Joy, fantastic symbol. Prince songs contains figures and symbols and so on. It's still hard to read, but it's an album that also you can show, that also shows videos in the computer. Little vinyl singles. This is a song that I heard a little too many times, but still it's a great song. This is Paisley Park. This is maybe one of the best songs on Parade album that I wasn't too fond of, but this one is good, Girls and Boys. Then of course, Sign of the Times. This is sorry. This is perhaps the best Prince song ever. This is my absolute favorite Prince song, I think. When Doves Cry. It's a great 80s tune. Great dance track. I definitely like this song very, very much. Thieves in the Temple. From the Graffiti Bridge movie. Then 3 awesome Prince songs. This is also one of my absolute favorites, Diamonds and Pearls. This one also a great, very special song, Cream. And Get Off. A special thing, and I think you are aware of that, Carsten, of course, that those songs is very interesting because they both have the same B-side. Both have the song Horny Porny. And then you wanted the top 3 Prince albums, and it was a little tough actually, because there's one album that I wanted to see in the 3rd place also, but I'm going to show it still as an honorable mention. I like this song very, very much, but I had to I had to exclude someone from the list, and it became this one, but still it's a great album. It is 1999. I like this album very, very much, even though the main title may be a little bit little overplayed. That song has been played a little too much. And I have both this one, the single, the ordinary album, and this one, the double album. This is definitely a funky, great, groovy album. But in the 3rd place, an album that isn't all that unusual, but still I like that very, very much. And of course, it is Purple Rain album. This is an album that is great produced, very great, very well made. I like the 80s productions, very danceable, and the only low part about this album is that I've never been a fan of the main title, Purple Rain. I know it's maybe one of his most popular songs that seems like everybody liked, but I always thought that Purple Rain is a very boring song. But my taste isn't always the same as the majority, of course. But other than that, this is a great album containing many great tracks. Let's Go Crazy, I Would Die For You, and as I mentioned, When Doves Cry. So still is an awesome album. I've never seen the movie, unfortunately, but the album and the music in the movie is definitely great. It's classic masterpieces. Number 2 is a little special choice. I said that I wasn't not that much fan of Prince sex gimmick, but this one and the lyrics in this album is very special, and I'm not too fond of the lyrics, but the album itself is very, very great produced. I like the melody still. I like the production very much, and then it's very funky, very groovy, so it still takes a 2nd place among my favorite Prince albums. And I'm talking about Dirty Minds. Uptown. The song Uptown is very special in the lyrics, but still I like that song. I like this album definitely. Unfortunately, my main pick of Prince albums I don't have. I've listened to it a couple of times, but unfortunately I don't have it myself yet. I hope to have it sooner or later. And that is, as you've seen, there are three. I mentioned three singles from Diamonds and Pearls album, and that's my favorites. Of course, that album is my favorite album. I like Diamonds and Pearls album because it's filled with it's so great, marvelous done. Great ballads, great faster stuff, very funky. I think this album has it all. Uh, so I like that album very much. I also want to mention the single Money Don't Matter Tonight. It's a great ballad, great song. So that one is my favorite Prince album. Unfortunately, I don't have the album. I can't show it, but still, nonetheless, it's great. Moving on, and from Prince to Danish music. You wanted to know three Danish artists, and that wasn't all that hard since I'm from Sweden, and after all, we are neighbors. So I know many Danish artists. Start with Sanne Salomonsen, Lis Sørensen, Anne Linnet. There are three artists. I can continue with Lis Sørensen, I said, Hanne Boel, Søs Fenger, Thomas Helmig, and we have bands like Michael Learns to Rock, Laban, 80s band. I really loved those hits they had with Caught by Surprise and Love in Siberia. Fantastic 80s songs. There also were those Danish bubblegum disco bands in the late 90s with Aqua and Hit and Hide and Toy Box. And I wasn't all that much of a fan of them, even though there were some exceptions. I liked Hit and Hide, actually. And you wanted three of my favorites Danish albums. And another band in this Danish bubblegum disco era was this band. I never liked those bands because they were a little too cartoonish. But this band was not that cartoonish, even though their album is called Superheroes. But I like the disco that Days did. I haven't mentioned that much in the videos, but I am a huge fan also of the 90s and of the Eurodisco and trance music from the 90s and 2000 and forward. So I like Days actually. Superhero is a song that had grown through years, and I always liked the Cyberpet song Together Forever. Don't ask me why, but I think it's a kind of cute song that puts a smile on my face. So this is a really, really good album. Number two, it's a very special choice. I choose to take him with me here because even though he also had an American passport, but he's born in Denmark, so I wanted to have him along, and I'm talking about, of course, Victor Borge. This is a great pianist, a great comedian. This is An Evening with Victor Borge. It's a live concert recorded in Theatre Carré in Amsterdam in September 1980. And I love Victor Borge's humor. I love his way of parodying classical masterpieces, even though he does it with a lot of heart, a lot of passion at the same time. And I love his monologues. It's extremely funny. So this is a great live concert. So number one is an album that I only have on cassette, unfortunately. so far, but still it's music nonetheless. I'm talking about Sanne Salomonsen, who's an artist that I like very much. Great voice, and this is an album that I like very, very much. This is Where Blue Begins from 91. The title track is a song that I like very much and have done since I heard it the first time in the summer 91. It's a great ballad with a lot of mood, with a lot of feeling, and it's very influenced by the successes that Gary Moore had at the time with his blues albums, and also I guess by the success here in Sweden that fellow blues singer Louise Hofsten had. And it's a great album, even though I'm not a fan of blues music, but still this is a great album that I like very, very much, and that this is maybe one of the best Danish albums I own, actually. So with that, I hope you are satisfied with my answers, and I like Prince very much, and I hope to buy a lot of records, continue buying records with him, as well as continuing buying Danish music, of course. So with that, I'm going to wish you a nice continuing of the week, and maybe a nice beginning of the weekend, and see you.